getting into the phase now, basically, where there's a lot of things we're doing in practice, and I'm just getting this from my players. I'm not a guy that watches social media. I don't watch anything, to be quite honest. I wouldn't know what anybody's doing in the world. But it's starting to get out, plays, and if a guy's not practicing, injury. And so I think we got to be careful with that. Just asking you to help me out. I've been, I'm one of those guys. I try to help you folks to do your job, and to come to practice and watch things. But I just think we got to be very careful what we're filming and showing people. And we can do it two ways. We can just shut it down, and I don't want to have to do that. But the players came to me, so I'm going to listen to my players. They know more about that social media than I know. I don't watch anything. I don't watch television. I don't watch the news. I'm just a football coach, so I wouldn't know what's out there. But when my players are concerned, then I have to do something. So I'm just asking you guys to help us out. And if we got to plan practice a certain way, and we will. And that's where that's at. As far as practice, I thought it's been good energy coming back at night. Everyone's a little tired. I reminded everyone, even our coaching staff, there was some concern that there's long days. And I had to remind them that it's been almost, not 2 seasons, but a season and a half before we had training camp. We didn't have training camp last year. So all of a sudden, everyone's like asking me, why is it so long? Why days are so long? We're in training camp. We didn't have training camp last year. So we're trying to fight through that. It's a little mix and bruises. That's okay. That's part of it. But for the most part, I thought we've gotten better since our first week. There's no doubt about that. Now we just got to keep guys healthy so we can just get through practice. And we got some nicks and bruises, young guys. Like I said, it's a long day. Meetings and practice and walkthroughs. But it's been pretty good this week. So tomorrow will be a little bit shorter. Then we're going Camp T on Saturday, which I think a lot of these guys will learn the history of that place. They're going to have to climb the mountain. Hopefully no one gets injured. Last time, as we remember, the tree fell on Tommy. We're trying to get through that as well, but pretty good night. The offense has picked it up. They really have. They picked it up. They were a little bit behind the first couple practices, and now the offense seems like they're playing pretty good, so that's good to see the competition. Questions?
Coach, I know you can't talk about the investigation, but your 3 coaches that are out are dynamic recruiters, and are you worried at all that that's going to hurt you on the recruiting trail, not having those guys?
Well, right now they're on administrative leave, and we're not recruiting right now. We're talking to kids. I think the best recruiting you can ever do is win. We still have to win games, and that's what we're practicing to do. And we fill those spots with some guys that have been here, so it's not like we weren't prepared. It's kind of funny. I talked about today to the team adaptability. I told them the story about adaptability, not as a football team, but just as a person in life. And I think we all had to deal with that 15 months ago when COVID hit. The world had to come to a stop, and we all had to adapt. And then I even put another reference, and I was a pretty good baseball player. Pretty good baseball player in high school and pony league. And as I got a little older, I continued to try to play baseball, but I couldn't adapt to the curveball. Couldn't get the curveball. Right? That's kind of like life. Life throws you some curves. If you can't sit in there and hit it, then you're going to be in trouble. One thing I know about this football team, we handle curveballs. We always have. We're built that way. That's our mindset. That's my mindset of life in general. And so we just move on. We're preparing ourselves for the season. We got a lot of young, talented players here. There's no doubt about that. Probably the most talented we've had since we've been here. And now we just got to collectively come together and figure out what we're going to do offensive, defensive, and special.
Number 20, Gio. What did you see in him, and how did he get that scholarship?
Well, what you saw tonight is kind of funny. He hadn't been catching a lot of balls, and he caught one tonight, and he kind of rolled it, on the ground after he made this catch. So So I walk up to him, I say, hey, look, act like you've been there before. Scholarship. And then from there, he caught about 2 more touchdowns. So good for him. 'Cause he's been quiet all. I mean, he hadn't seen him. I mean, you guys have been practicing. He hadn't caught a lot of balls, you know. And I was like, okay. All of a sudden, it's getting harder for this guy. He got a scholarship, you know. And he's all right. Then he looked like a scholarship player tonight, for sure.
What do you like? What do you like?
I just like his ability to catch the ball. He has very soft hands. He's quick out of his breaks, and he competes for the ball. You know, he finds a way to get open. And that's what good guys do. He had a good night tonight. It was good to see that because he's been quiet for the last 5 practices. You haven't seen a lot of him flash. That's what he did in spring football, and that's how he earned the scholarship.
Herm, I know you talked about adaptability.
Yes.
Being down those 3 coaches for the fall, how does it affect you guys the rest of the season?
Well, we don't know how this thing's. We don't know anything. I don't know anything. Right? I just adapt. I had to adapt yesterday when I was sitting in the airport. Yesterday I was sitting in the airport in Washington at 8 o'clock in the morning trying to get here. And the flight kept getting canceled. I was at the hall. I called more airlines than I could even imagine, trying to get out of there, me and my family. We finally got out of there at 3 o'clock. Sat in the airport for 7 hours. So we had to adapt as a football team. That's move practice back. Every hour that went by, kept calling in and said, we'll move practice to this time. And eventually it ended up at night. It all worked out. So I just think this team is built to do that. They've done a good job of following my lead. They get it. They know who I am as a person. And they know whatever comes our way, we'll adjust, we'll adapt. I've always said, we'll be just fine. We'll be good.
The coaching staff too, like that probably puts more work on certain people.
No, everybody. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's been a transition in the sense that some moves we had to make right now. The guys have been in the building, so the players know who they are. So it's not like, who's this guy? These guys have been here. Donnie Henderson was my defensive coordinator in New York, right? He's been a great coach in the league. So we got guys that have been in the room, so we're fine.
Did you play on the offensive side? Did you think that after Adam that you were in the clear as far as depth?
I didn't think anything. I don't even think. I don't worry about that. I don't know. They just tell me, I go, okay, and we adjust. Whatever they decide, we adjust to it. We move on. And that's where we're at right now.
What about reshuffling things on the offensive side in terms of who's coaching what?
It really, Bobby is, he's been helping with the wide receivers. And so Trey will work with the quarterbacks more. And Zach has the ability to work with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. So we're fine. Bobby's been here. Bobby gets it. Playing the national football league. He's got a lot of knowledge. He's a good coach. I mean, he's interviewed for the wide receiver job too. So it's not like these guys are new. They're not new. They know the system. They know the players. So it's just different ways to make one. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
You mentioned that the offense stepped up a little bit. You thought, can you just talk about what areas they
Well, I think in the passing game especially, I told him I should leave more often. I missed the practice and I came back and I watched the practice Saturday because I was obviously can't. And I get up and kind of watching the practice. I send it to him and I go, okay, it kind of looked different. And then last night I showed up here and I'm looking, I'm going, what's happening? This is like a different offense. I told him, you guys want me to leave again? I can leave again. Right? And they were very competitive. And Johnny had a night where it's like, okay, couldn't cover. It's flat couldn't cover. We had to cover. We didn't. So I think the running game has showed some flashes. And now all of a sudden, that's looking better. The offensive line's doing a good job of putting the power in. A couple days ago, all of a sudden that became great. Okay. So I think, when you go to training camp, the offense is always a little bit behind the defense. There's so many people trying to one ball and they're trying to do all these things. The defense just runs to the ball. And the offense, I think, collectively, they had a meeting. Shad kind of said something. JV kind of said something. It's good they spoke up. It's just kind of looking like the offense we anticipated.
That was over the weekend?
Yeah. It was that's what's great about this team. We got guys at every level that stand up and they have a voice, and that's the good part. They have a voice. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're at. And I think they're in constant communication with me as a head coach, that we know how they're feeling, what they're thinking. Saying, Coach, I want to do this. Okay, you guys go do that. I get it.
How much do you appreciate that they can police themselves within each other versus you having to step in and say something?
It's great because that is what we talked about when I first got here. And a lot of these guys have been here. When I look at some of these guys who've been here for 4 years with me as a head coach, they know they have a voice, and the players know that the guys, when they speak up, that basically they're talking for the betterment of the team. They have a platform. So it's good to watch.
Coach, how was your trip to Canton? How special was it?
Yeah, a lot of fun. You know, I've been there numerous times, obviously, and I took my daughters. That was fun, taking them and my wife. You guys know how close we are to the Lynches. But to see all my friends, the guys that have been inducted there, kind of interesting before the ceremony started. I generally go up there on stage with the guys and visit with all of them. There's some great players up there, some great coaches. But it's great camaraderie for me to see all the guys. You know, I was involved in that league for over 30 years as a player and a coach, so it's kind of fun to make sure everybody's doing okay. We're all concerned for each other, and a lot of hugs. And when those new guys get inducted, it's always powerful when you listen to them speak and what they say. Their words are meaningful, and they've all had different journeys. And for all of them, it hasn't been easy. It's not been easy. I remember Peyton Manning, he told the story through 28 interceptions. And Archie said it right, his father. I played against Archie. His first year, Peyton told his dad, he said, nobody's over. He threw 28 interceptions. People lose sight of that, you know. So when you know these guys, you know what they've been through, and they've overcome a lot of things. And John especially, you know, he was a linebacker when we got there. Converted him, and our relationship started there, and it's been since that time, that long, and we're close. We're a close group. It was good to see Ronde Barber. He's the next one that needs to be in the Hall of Fame. He played on that defense as well. You know, seeing Sapp and Brooks and just all the guys. There's so many guys in the NFL you lose sight that you've known over the years, and a lot of them watch Sun Devil football too. It's kind of interesting, you know, when you talk to them. Say, Coach, we watch you guys all the time. Whenever you're on TV, we're watching you, man. I said, I appreciate you guys. That's a lot of fun. I saw the commissioner, Paul Tagliabue, sat down with him. He was very, very important in my career. He was very important. He really was pushing for me to be a head coach. He put me on some head coaches committees when they had the owners meeting to speak with the head coaches. He invited me there, and I couldn't thank him enough. You know, he remembers after I became the head coach with the Jets, and his wife was great. She said, and they were talking to Leah, my wife. She said, "Do you remember after Coach became the head coach?" We all started smiling. You know, we actually went out to dinner, picked me up, and went out to dinner with the commissioner and his wife when I became the head coach of the Jets. So it was a special moment that evening, but it was good to see him. Obviously, for him to be in the Hall of Fame, it's quite special.
What about when you see guys like Coach Flores and Drew Pearson?
Yeah,
obviously
Drew.
both well-deserved, but Coach Flores.
No doubt. I've known Tom for a long time too. You know, I grew up on the West Coast, and where he came from, he told his story. And Drew was funny because, you know, I had to cover Drew at times in Dallas, and that was a heated rivalry. You know, he was up on stage and he saw me, and we kind of tipped our hats at each other, you know, and I clapped for him because he was a heck of a football player. And my teammate, Harold Carmichael, finally got in. So it's just fun to see all the guys. Obviously, I saw Tony. We embraced, give each other a hug. You know, we go way back. So it's kind of interesting, and you don't realize in your lifetime that the people that you've been involved in and the people that you've made a difference in their life. A lot of the guys that I've coached, have been on staffs with, that have gone into that Hall of Fame, or even coaches that have gone in that Hall of Fame. When they come talk to you, they reflect on, you know, the part of life that you had with them or the conversations, and it's unique. I was happy my daughters went because it's one of those things that they went because they want to see all the stars, and you know, their daddy knows all the guys, you know. But I think when they get older, they'll look back at that and go, you know, we got to go to the ceremonies. It was fun to watch.
I didn't see Jermaine Lolace. Is everything all right with him?
Yeah, he's a little nicked right now, so we'll see where he's at.
Coach, could you expand on the decision to move practice tonight just a little bit?
Yeah, if you remember, I don't know if you were here when I first got here, due to the heat, you know, I just felt that going at night was better for us, and we're a night team for the most part. Adaptability here again. I wanted to see kind of what we were going to do and react when we went to the day, but I knew in my mind I was going to get back to nights, because I just think it's a better atmosphere for us, and when the sun goes down, even though it's still hot, it's not as hot. It just doesn't seem as hot, right? So I told the coaches, I said, hey, we're going to go today. Some of these coaches wanted to go to today, you know, and so I moved it to today, and I kind of gave them what they wanted the first 4 days, and then I told them today, I said, you know, it's like anything else, I'm going to change it, because I want to see how people react. I just want to see how people react when things all of a sudden are going one way and something happens. How do you react to it? And I told them, now I'm going to be the head coach, and I'm going back to night practice. I said, there's no conversations anymore. This is what we're doing. So it all works out, you know. That's what I do. I just, when there's no chaos, you create something. And that's, you see how people react. And I function really good with that kind of stuff. And I want our team and our coaches to be able to function like that. So when things happen, we don't panic. We go, look, our job is to give answers. We got to find answers. Like, going into training camp, everyone says, you know, you go into training camp, when you leave training camp, like, what are the questions that you want to know? Well, I do it opposite. I go into training camp with questions. And I tell them, these are the questions that need to be answered when we leave training camp. I don't want you to give me questions when we leave. These are the questions I'm giving you before we even go. We got to get these answered. Offense, defense, and special teams. So that was the first staff meeting we had as far as training camp. I said, these are the questions that we must get answered. Whether it was position groups, whatever it was a list of them. And I said, we got to get these answers. We got about, 25 practices. Within that time frame, we need to have answers for these questions. And so that's kind of how I function. That's how my brain works. And I just think when you do it that way, when things happen, you're not emotionally making decisions. You just say, take the emotion out of it, man. What's the proper thing to do? And players know that they laugh when I change stuff. The guys that have been here, they start laughing. They say, Coach, he did it again, right? And it's just because that's football. I mean, do you know what we dealt with the world last year? Everybody, you guys, COVID. You know how many times you guys had to change stuff? I mean, it was unbelievable. And so I just think if you can function that way, you got a leg up on everybody.
Hi, Coach. I know it's early on, but what do you love about coaching this team in particular?
The maturity of watching guys like Merlin and Black. I can remember when they were little freshmen coming in here, and we were going to have 25 practices, and watching them from that day to right now. It's like, that's what this thing's about. And, you know, it's funny because every day we come to practice, there's about 5 or 6 of them always walking to me and they ask me one question before practice starts. They say, Coach, you good? And I go, I'm good. And that's all they want to know. Coach, are you good? And I say, I'm good. And they say, we're good then, Coach, you're okay. And I say, just spread the word, I'm good. And so, to watch them come in here as freshmen, to start as freshmen, and to be in this program that long, and now the leaders of it. And I'm not just picking those 2 guys up. There was a bunch of them, you know, there was some more. But those guys, and to watch Chase, he's been here forever. He's been here longer than some of the professors, right? I mean, he knows more about this place than anybody. And to watch him, and Jack, and Chis, and Evan, and just the secondary guys, because I'm involved with that a lot anyway, and watch those guys, they can be really good, and I think they know it. It's fun to watch them. I don't even have to hardly correct them anymore. They know when I say that, we got it. and they're helping the young guys. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
Coach, the people want to know what is the song on the beginning of the playlist, the smooth jazz that kind of gets the guys going.
Tell them, Mark. You know who that artist is?
I was talking to somebody else. What's the question?
I'm gonna make you guys figure out who that guy is. I'm not gonna tell you who the song is. But that's my song every day.
That's just your jam?
That's the one. Nice and smooth. You know what? I always say, don't be in a hurry. Just don't be in a hurry. That's I always tell them. They know I get the first song. That's the first song. Every day in practice, they know what's coming. And the young players trying to figure out, what is that? I said, that's called smooth jazz. It's way over your head right now. we understand. It's the Traveler. It's Earl Klugh. That's who it is. It's Earl Klugh, the Traveler. Get it on your phone. When you leave here, Google it, push it down, Earl Klugh, the Traveler. Just take about 3 minutes to listen to it. It'll change your whole life. Earl Klugh.
Clue with a K.
Yeah. Earl Klugh, the Traveler.
Thanks, Coach.